Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In today's lesson, we will talk about anaerobic reactors which are used for the treatment of wastewater. There are so many different types of anaerobic reactors which can be used. We will talk about those which are most important. Let's start about talking septic tanks, those septic tanks which are attached with the anaerobic filter system. Septic tank is one of the most simplest forms of anaerobic reactors, and for this very reason, these are widely used in rural areas. What they do is that they basically remove the solids and the sediments by sedimentation, and once these solids have settled down, there is created anaerobic conditions, natural anaerobic conditions, and due to these anaerobic conditions, facultative anaerobic bacteria start growing there. Once they have started growing there, they will start metabolizing this biomass and this sedimentation materials by anaerobic processes. Now the septic tank can be a single chamber, or you can see here it can have multiple chambers as well. In this case, that will be called as Imhoff tank, the septic tank that is having at least two chambers. What happens in the single chamber septic tank? Basically, there is no physical separation between the regions of the liquid phase as well as the solid phase, because it is just one big tank. So what happens basically, the solids they remain in the upper phase, and the solids remain sedimented down at the bottom, whereas the liquid phase is up on the top, and two different types of processes operate in the sedimentation phase as well as in the liquid phase. This septic tank can be used as a single unit, or it can be used in a series as well. Now let's talk about chambered septic tanks. For example, Imhoff tank that has at least two chambers. So one is the settling chamber, and other one is the chamber that contains the liquid phase. You can see here the settling occurs in the settling chamber compartment, which is basically placed located at the upward location in this tank. So what happens is that once the solids have sedimented down in that compartment, they will move down towards the bottom through an opening. You can see here the settled solids pass through an opening at the bottom of the compartment and are directed to the bottom compartment, digestion compartment. So in this Imhoff tank, there is separation. Eventually there is a separation between the solid phase as well as the liquid phase. So the solids are collected in the compartment, and then they are moved downward towards the bottom, and once they have settled at the bottom, again anaerobic processes will start operating. So you can see here that Imhoff tank, due to its two chambers, offers compartmentalization of the two phases of the sewage and the wastewater. Now the accumulated sludge then undergoes anaerobic digestion, as we have discussed in our previous lessons as well. The anaerobic digestion holds a very important place in wastewater treatment, and obviously due to anaerobic processes, different types of gases are generated, and they will evolve from the sedimented material and upward. Obviously, the gases originated from the anaerobic digestion do not interfere with the settling process. Why so? Because they cannot penetrate inside the sedimentation chamber, so they are ultimately collected and released in the environment. Basically, septic tanks are sedimentation tanks. हमने पहले भी शुरू में डिस्कस किया कि they allow the sedimentation of the solids. Septic tanks can be just a single big tank, or they can have at least two chambers. In this case, those will be called as Imhoff tanks. So as they cause sedimentation, so there is no such removal of BOD, or at least least removal of BOD. So that's why the effluent from these septic tanks, that effluent will still contain lots of organic matter, dissolved organic matter, that should be treated. So what we do is that we attach these septic tanks with some other types of treatment units. For example, anaerobic filter system. Obviously, this anaerobic filter system is based on biofilms of bacteria and microorganisms. So these two units are attached with each other for much more efficient results. You can see here that first the solid phase is removed, and then we have septic tank, which causes the sedimentation of the solids. The septic tank, this one here, is just one big tank without any chambers. In other case, it can be an Imhoff tank which has two chambers. One is a settling one, which causes the settling of the solids. And then from this septic tank, the liquid is moved to anaerobic filter system, and here the rest of the treatment process operates, and eventually the water is released in the receiving body in the environment. Now these anaerobic filters which are attached with the septic tanks, they are very different from the trickling filters. क्या क्या differences हैं इनमें वो हम देख लेते हैं. For example, the liquid flow is upwards. In anaerobic filter system, the liquid flow is upward. जो liquid introduce होता है वो bottom पे होगा introduce, वहाँ से upward flow करेगा वो. Trickling filters में क्या होता था कि liquid जो है that used to trickle down through the filters. तो इस केस में opposite है. The anaerobic filter works submerged. जो filter system है anaerobic filter system, the filter is basically based on the biofilms which are being made on some soil surface, for example stones. So the stones that contain biofilms, those are submerged in the liquid phase. So the anaerobic filter works submerged. The unit is closed. It is a completely closed unit. It is not open. The BOD load applied per unit volume is very high, which guarantees anaerobic conditions. जितनी BOD ज़्यादा होगी उतनी जो है वहाँ पे ऑक्सीजन कंजम्पशन ज़्यादा होगी, तो anaerobic conditions ज़्यादा जल्दी डेवलप करेंगी. So that's why you can see here this favors the creation of anaerobic conditions. So overall these are anaerobic filters. Again these are different from trickling filters. Now the efficiency of septic tank attached with anaerobic filter is obviously most of the times less as compared to the fully aerobic system. Why so? Because aerobic system में there are so many different aerobic processes that operate, और उसकी efficiency obviously ज़्यादा होती है as compared to sole anaerobic processes operating in such systems. So that is also why we need to have a further downstream process of wastewater treatment. Sludge production in anaerobic systems is very low. इस सिस्टम में sludge production भी slow होती है और बहुत low होती है. So you can see here the excess sludge is already digested and can go directly to dewatering. लेकिन जितनी भी sludge इसमें बन रही है, बेशक वो कम बन रही है, वो already जो है stabilize हो चुकी है, उसमें organic content already जो है वो ख़त्म हो चुका है, बहुत low है, और इस हद तक low है कि that can be moved to the dewatering processes, for example drying bed and other such processes. So however the liquid phase that contains much more BOD that has to be treated. So septic tank से move होगा liquid towards anaerobic filter system. I will see you in next lessons.